Okay, I had a customer just email about the number of files that were created. He was drawing kitchen cabinets and had some drilling operations, but his question dealt with doing, I'm assuming, a modified blind dado and the tenons created. He was thinking that he couldn't combine different toolpaths that were created that were done at different depths. So I'm just going to quickly show that. So this was just a file that I already had loaded. Doesn't matter what it is, the example is going to be the same. So I'm going to delete all the tool paths. Okay, so we're going to take all of these squares or rectangles and cut all the way through them. So I'm going to do a profile cut. I'm going to specify T for the thickness plus 0.020 equals. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. That's fine. I'm not going to, in this example, go over tabs or separate last passes or adding ramps, lead-ins, leads out, etc. It doesn't matter for this case. So I'm going to call this profile cutout. So here I'm on the tablet. And that's using a 0.25 end mill. This is probably a compression end mill if he's doing it. So it's going to warn you that I'm cutting through it, no problem. Then I'm going to take these two pockets here. I think this part was originally a handle hold, but I'm going to cut through. So I've got them selected, and I'm going to do a profile cut too. I'm using the same operation, or I can do a pocket. I'll do that on the next operation. So I'm going to go down with these, say 0.25. I'll do that in one pass. I'm still using a 1/4 inch end mill, and what it's looking for here is the geometry of the bit. So if I have an 1/8 inch, it won't let me put them together. So I'm going to put that on the vectors, no problem. Again, I'm going to bypass all this, and I'll call this as a profile, just so I can name it and I can tell that it's different. 0.25 deep, the 0.25 end mill. These naming conventions I use just to keep things simple. So then these two, we're going to do the small one. I'm going to do it with a same profile cut, but I'm going to switch to a different tool. So I'm going to select an 1/8 inch end mill because I can't combine it. It's a different setup. It's a different tool. So I'm going to select the 1/8 inch. Again, bypass everything up top. I'm going to call this profile 0.125. How deep did I do? I'll do 0.125 end mill also. It's specified up here. Yeah. And just tell it okay to calculate. And then, excuse me, when I go to save this, if I have all those selected, I can't do them all together because they're different geometries. The tools are not the same. So if I take this one out with the 0.125, I can take the profile cutout with 0.25 end mill and the profile 0.25 deep with a 0.25 end mill and put them into one output code. I don't want to put two different ones because it'll pause and I'll have to tell it to start again. So let's just put those together. Now, one thing we want to be aware of is I can also switch this. I would want this last, the profile cutout that cuts the parts out. I want that last in this series of tooling that I'm doing here. So I'd move this. This was a profile cutout, so that was just a walk around that. But then I can change that, and I could do it rather than a profile. I could do a pocket or whatever. But if I have a different size geometry on the tool, it will not let me put them together on the output. So if I was going to cut this way with a 0.25 cut here, a 0.125 cutter here, a 0.25 cutter here, and a 0.25 cutter here. Turn all those on. You can preview it. And that could it could be a combination of different tooling procedures. These are all border cuts, but it could be a pocket as well. Um, so there we have it. Now when I send them out to the machine, I'm going to select what goes out first, and I just leave it set up and saved this way. Visible tools to one toolpath. And if I select everything, it tells me that it can't do it. The visible toolpaths use different tools. Okay, well that makes sense. So I'll turn off the ones, and that's why I name them this way. I can put these together so that it'll do this operation and then do this operation. So there's my 1/8 inch. I'll save it, give it a name. I'm going to cancel out, turn that one off, hit this one and this one. They can be combined into one toolpath when it gets to the machine. So do that, and off we go. So we'd have, just typically for a cabinet, we're going to have drilling operations with the 5mm drill first, and then we do, depending on how we're building, the same 5mm drill for construction holes if we're going to do a screwed together cabinet, or if we're doing blind dados, we're going to switch tools, go to a bigger tool and use it for the dados and to make the tenons and to make the perimeter of the parts as well, the cutout. So this is the option that you want to use, and it works well. I'm Eric Schiller with Yeti Tools Southeast, 205-871-6618. The Yeti SmartBench is a portable 4x8 CNC machine. Thanks.